Franchise Sports Media!
What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Clenny Lua.
I'm Griffin Kemp.
Griff, we got a special one, man. We are coming off the high of UFC 300, Haney Garcia, but now we're jumping right back into it, buddy. The wheels do not stop. UFC 300 down in Brazil. It will be a title on the line and the return of the King of Rio. Let's dive into it, my man. The UFC main event will feature a flyweight title bout between, I want to make sure I say this right, so forgive me, Alexandra Pantoja, the champion. Woo, this dude's bad. He will be taking on a Stephen Urquid. Okay. Now, very quickly, Grip, before I kick it over to you, AK may not necessarily have the biggest name in the division. Okay, he's 12-1. All right, 11 finish, 6 submissions. He's on an 11-fight win streak. Just one of those where, because the division had Brendan Moreno, Devison Ferrego, Pantoja, those guys are just taking it on, being phenomenal. This is a guy though who just underneath, like we talk about at lightweight, Griff, all those monsters at top, and then there's those guys right there trying to come up and crack through. Steven's looking to do so. He's from down under, mate. Can he go down under to South America and Brazil and bring home the champion? Or will we hear, no? What says you?
I don't see it. This fight, it's like you said, it's nobody's fault that this matchup is the way it is. It's just the way the division fell, just the way the division falls down. You got Alexander Pantoja, who's coming off of his win against Brandon Royval, that unanimous decision at, I believe it was UFC 296. Mm-hmm. And before that, he had 4 more fights, 4 more wins, all of them, including his fight with Brandon Royval. So a 5-fight winning streak. All 5 of those opponents were in the top 10 and are currently in the top 10 rankings. Brandon Royval has killed. He's gone through these boys. He's now facing what is his weakest opponent in a while now in Urquid. I mean, the man's only had, Steve Urquid has only had, give the man credit. Astro Boy has an 11-fight win streak, but he's only had 3 fights in the UFC. 2 fights going to the decision, and then the final one, he did get a second-round KO. But, I mean, when you look at Pantoja, who's gone through the division, basically, compared to a guy who's only had 3 fights in this promotion, I just don't really see how this fight is overly competitive. I think Pantoja gets it done pretty fast, but overall, it'd still be worth tuning into.
I get everything that you're saying, Griff. I really do, and those are some excellent points. But we have seen times where guys come in from another organization, and they don't have as many UFC fights, but they have been through the test. They have been through the battles, and they're in there ready to make a name for themselves. Got to remember, now for Steve, he's coming in, like you said, I only got 3 fights in here. Maybe 2 of them weren't the most impressive, but guess what? I'm coming in here with nothing to lose. I'm in his backyard. It's going to be his people cheering him on. He's defending the title. He's got to prove he's the king of the mountain. I can go out there and just let loose. And because I don't have as many fights in the UFC, am I a bit of a mystery? Sure, you can look at my fights online and see what I've done there. But if I've been working on some things to get here, I've been watching you on to come up, and I've been watching the past champions as well on this ride that I've been doing. I think for Pantoja, yes, well-rounded, without a doubt. Do I think he's going to win? I do, but I wouldn't say this is his weakest. I would say resume-wise, probably his weakest, but the unknown to me always keeps me worrisome. Remember, we had a gentleman by the name of Shogun Rua, another Brazilian legend. When he finally made it to the UFC, he didn't have as many fights. After his first loss against Forrest Griffin, everyone's just like, oh, this isn't the same Shogun. He went on a tear. So sometimes you got to get in there and get those UFC jitters out of you. Steve's already done that with 3 fights. I really do believe he can go in there if he can calm his nerves. If he can, because we know in Brazil, that crowd is fanatic. Remember, who was it? It was Matt Brown versus, it wasn't Rafael dos Santos, no, Damian Maia. When Damian Maia and Matt Brown fought, and Matt Brown did his traditional giving the double bird to the fans at the weigh-ins. Now, he does that everywhere he goes, just part of his thing. Brazilians don't like that. They don't like disrespect. They were in there trying to fight him on his way to the ring. So can Stephen Eric, can he overcome those emotions? Can he overcome that type of atmosphere? I believe he'll be calm, and he'll give Pantoja, I think, a tougher fight than what most are thinking, but I still think Pantoja pulls out because he's just that good of a champion.
it's hard to see. I get you shouldn't judge a fighter based off of their resume. You never, like you said, the fighter who's the most unknown is the most dangerous. But it's just hard to see this being any type of barn burner. It's going to be Steve Urquhart coming into his fourth fight, and he's running right into a title shot, which is, I know it's just kind of how the UFC works and how matchups kind of fall through the cracks and certain things happen and matchups just happen to be made. But it just seems weird with especially all the killers in this division at flyweight that Steve Urquhart ranked at number 10 with only 3 fights on the resume for the UFC. He's just like starting out his UFC career, automatically getting to that title shot. I mean, it's just a little bit, it makes you a little nervous. Like if you're to bet on this fight, like if you got your own money on the line, you got the rent, you got the mortgage on the line. I don't know a lot of people who are going to take the risk of betting the underdog in this one. Steve Urquhart is just not experienced enough in this promotion. He's not experienced in his, in fighting the top echelon talent that the UFC holds on its roster. So I can honestly feel confident saying Pantoja is going to win this one. Now, if he comes out there and he makes it a fight, he makes it a real hardcore, hard-nosed fight. They go maybe into the later rounds, the championship rounds, 4th or 5th round, and then he either gets, could be a submission. I lean more towards the submission, but if he is ending up able to get this fight even to a judge's decision, even in a loss, that could help him a lot. That could help his stock. And then you add another killer in this flyweight division. But at the end of the day, I really think Pantoja is the safe bet. I think Pantoja is one of the more underrated champions right now in the UFC. So we'll see how it goes. Good luck to this man, Steve, man. But, in your 4th fight and you're fighting for the title, you better come ready. You better come hot.
I mean, that's what you got to do for every single fight, especially when you got the title on the line. If you're betting the house and the mortgage on it, well, then you really got to call somebody. They got numbers for that for you to call people, man. You should be making those kind of bets anyways. Think about the future. But Pantoja, 27-5. This reads like an NBA stat line. Like 35% of his finishes have come by knockout, 33 by submission, by 31 by decision. So again, he can finish you or he can go the distance. For Ikeg, he's mostly a submission guy. 55% of his wins coming by way of submission and decision. So he's one of those where if they grapple and it goes to the ground, I think Pantoja might be a little surprised by how good on the ground the Australian is. But that remains to be seen as far as how that goes. We both think Pantoja is going to win, but I do think AK is going to give him a tougher fight. Speaking of tougher fights, we got stepping up. We got my man, Jonathan Martinez. Bless this man. But sorry, Martinez, you are not the story here. Bye-bye. He's 19-4, though, so I do not want to act like he's not good. But he's taking on the return of a legend, Griff. He's taking on the King of Rio, Scarface himself, the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, one of the all-time greats, a Hall of Famer, Jose Aldo. The man is back. The king is back. Jose Aldo left the UFC, pursued boxing, did well in the world of boxing, but now he's back going to MMA. He is coming back at 31-8. It's been a minute since we've seen him in the cage, but 31-8. 17 wins by knockout, 12 first-round finishes. Ooh, Griff. The last time we saw him was at UFC 278. Jose Aldo returns to the octagon. Your thoughts, my man?
It is hard not to get excited when a guy like Jose Aldo, a fighter like Jose Aldo, comes back and we get to see him grace the octagon again. It's hard not to get excited. But we do have to look at everything, the history. We have to look at all the events that transpired leading up to this Saturday in Brazil at UFC 301. Why is Jose Aldo coming out of retirement? Why is he coming out of retirement? Why is he coming back to fight after not only retiring, but also being inducted into the Hall of Fame? Now, that's what I'm most curious about with this matchup. I think it's going to be a good fight. I pray it's going to be a good fight. I pray that Jose Aldo didn't come out of retirement just to come out there and get slaughtered. I'm not predicting that. I'm just what I'm hoping for the least. But that part of it where Jose Aldo's coming back now after having the career he had at the age that he's at right now, it's just interesting to me. Could it be a money thing? Could it be needing to continue to fight? Could it be a hunger to still compete? And he feels like he still has a little bit more left to go. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that Jose Aldo will come prepared. I know that Jose Aldo will always be a pro. He's a fighter's pro, and he's going to come in. He's going to give a beautiful performance. And honestly, the entire card at UFC 301 should give thanks to Jose Aldo because of whatever happened in the background of the UFC and the reason that we heard talks of Alex Pereira might want to try and make this card despite already fighting at UFC 300. Was that already in plan? And then when he had to move to 300, they had to bring some kind of name in there. So they threw in what you're fighting in Brazil, a card of Brazil. Who else are you going to bring? Jose Aldo. So there's a lot of mystery behind this matchup, but it should be a good one. This one should be pretty exciting to watch.
Sometimes you can say a whole lot without saying nothing. Oh, I don't know why he's coming back. What's he coming back for?
That's what we should talk about. Instead of talking about matchups, X's and O's, we should talk about what is the background behind this.
First off, Griff, we're online right now. Don't interrupt. We're online right now. We're not in person. Don't interrupt. I'll let you talk for 3 days. Okay? Don't interrupt. But you're bringing up a whole bunch of nonsense because guess what? Whatever your reasoning is, that's your reasoning. Ain't gonna bother me none. Oh, well, it might affect the way he fights. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. We've seen guys on their last fight in the UFC do pretty well. We've seen guys in their first fight in the UFC do pretty well. We've seen the opposite of guys on their last fight stink it up. In their first fight, stink it up. It doesn't matter. What matters is you still have that hunger to want to come out there and fight. You still have that hunger to come back. Remember, when this guy left, it wasn't because he wanted to stop and just sit on the beach. He went and fought in boxing, tried to go in that realm, realized maybe this just isn't for me. And yes, you could throw in everything else. We need a big name to come back. Well, guess what? Jose was already hinting at coming back anyways. Why not come back at the biggest event that you could come back in Brazil? Then you throwing the fact that guess what? If he goes out there and he's able to show out and put on a performance and get a victory now, this early in the year, well, now what does he do the rest of the year? Now we got potential matchups. Oh, yeah, we got the legend Jose Aldo. Let's go ahead and put him in some nice matchup against other opponents in this division. So his reason for coming back, I'm not too worried about that. What I'm curious about is why is he coming back in this particular division? I would love to see him come back at 145 and try to make a run for it. Does he run it back with Max? Does he go after Alexander Volkanovski? I'll tell you what, if he's at 145, he go to 155. And there's a certain other dude who's coming back. Well, why is this guy coming back later on in the summer? Them two need to run it back because 13 seconds ain't enough. Why is he coming back? We don't know. So don't give me these nonsense, Griff, about why Jose Aldo's coming back. We are seeing the return of a legend, a king. He's been gone for 2 years. He's taking on a Martinez, who's on a 6-fight win streak, 9 knockouts. This dude is a young up-and-comer right here. I'm very curious to see how Aldo looks in his first one. I'm not going to judge him win, lose, or draw simply because it is his first fight back. But I'm very curious to see how he responds. You know the crowd's going to be behind him. Martinez is going to look to show a name off of him. It's going to be fun.
Should be fun. Absolutely should be fun. Now, here's the thing. To go back to what you were saying before, why this specific division? I mean, bantam, I get what you're saying because he could have picked bantamweight or he could have picked featherweight as well. Maybe his decision was based off of which division's champion he thinks he would have the best matchup against. If he gets down that road and he finally gets that matchup, I mean, maybe he's saying I would much rather be in the cage with Sugar Sean O'Malley than I would be, say, Ilya Tapora or Max Holloway, depending on the matchup between those two. So I think that one's interesting. But yes, Jose Aldo coming back at bantamweight, pretty good. He's cutting a lot. I know that's a lot. That's kind of a significant weight cut for the man. I think him at featherweight, especially if he were to fight I think a crazy matchup would be like maybe him and Aljamain. An Aljamain Sterling matchup could be something sick to watch. But nonetheless, Jose Aldo is back. As a Conor fan, the Conor community, we love Jose Aldo. We love him. The man propelled our boy into stardom. So we always love the man. We show respect, especially his run since he went down from featherweight to bantamweight. Absolutely historic, absolutely legendary the way he did. So I'm excited for this matchup as well. I hope we see a big one. I hope we see a big one from the former featherweight champion. I hope he gets this knockout and it's a big old Rocky. What Rocky was that where he was old and came back? Rocky 5?
Well, Rocky 5, he didn't have an official match. You mean Rocky 6, which is technically Rocky Balboa when he came back and fought Antonio Tarver.
Yes, exactly. I hope this is a Rocky 6 moment for Jose.
Well, in Rocky 6, technically Rocky lost. Technically.
Yeah, but it was a beautiful moment. It was beautiful to watch.
No, It was awesome. It gave us one of the great speeches of all time, motivational speeches that Stallone delivered in that. I'm very curious to see how it goes in this one. Does he rematch Peter Yan? Does he try to go at Henry Cejudo? I'm telling you one matchup I would love to see since he's coming back. Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz. I want to see those two fight. I want to see two legends go at it. They haven't had their chance yet. I would love to see those two go at it. So also on this card, just very quickly, Griff, we have the Lion, Anthony Smith. Hold on one second. Accidentally, here we go. I accidentally closed the thing on my phone. We got Anthony Smith. He's taking on Vitor Petrino. Now, the reason I bring this up only because Anthony Smith feels like with the win here, he should be next in line for a title shot. And Griff, I just want to get your very, very quick thoughts on that. Anthony Smith, we know is a good fighter, but dude, you really are that delusional that you think being 1-2 in your last 3 bouts, that a win here at 2-2 in your last 4 put you in line for a title shot at? Don't say his name too loud.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that division. Everyone not just Anthony Smith. Yuri comes out saying that his performance at UFC 300, he deserves to step right in there with Poatan again. I mean, what happened to earning your keep? What happened to showing something, doing the work? Like Yuri Prochazka at least has a foot to stand on. Anthony Smith has been always around the title, next title match, sweepstakes. He's always put his name in. He's always talking about, oh, I'm this close from a belt. I'm about to be there. I just need this win or this win. I don't think so. I think that's, if you really believe that, if you're Anthony Smith, you somewhat have to think that it's a little delusional. Then there's so many fighters that are in the lineup for that, especially in that division. Like you got to take a number because there is a line, and you have got to do a little bit more than having a 1-2 record. If he wins this one, that's a 500 level record. That's still that's not great. In a four fight schedule, you only go 2-2. It's not great. So I would say, let's see what he looks like. I mean, how old is he now? The man's got to be like close to his 40s. If not,
remember I said very quick. Remember I did emphasize very quick.
Right.
Very quick.
Again, same as Jose Aldo.
Very quick.
You're right. Cap it off. Yep, it'll be an exciting matchup to see. Title contention, I don't think so. More work needs to be done on his end, on Anthony Smith's end, but definitely going to be worth to see what he looks like these days.
I did emphasize very quick. I don't know how else I could say that, but
my bad. When you get into dialogue conversations with the UFC, it's hard.
No. Look, man, I love the passion, but you got to remember, we just doing the show, not a podcast here. We're not here for 3 hours like Joe Rogan and them, man. So we just got to try to keep it with norm and keep it up. Also on the card, we got Karolina Kowalski, former title contender. She's going to be on there as well. We got Paul Craig, always an intense son of a gun. Sometimes I want to be like, hey, man, do you need a hug, man? Like, what's up with why you so damn intense? Get a hug. But he's going to be on there. We also got Michael Pereira on there. He's a fantastic capoeira guy. He's the one that always does the flips, jumping off the cages. Very entertaining fighter. So UFC 301 in Brazil, the champion, Alex Pereira, he tried to get on there, just couldn't make it in time from his quick knockout, or at least couldn't find an opponent in time. But it's going to be a lot of fun. The Brazilian fans are some of the best, most passionate fans of this sport. I mean, jiu-jitsu guys right there in the backyard. So I'm very curious to see how this card plays out. And then, like we talked about the matchups here, how they go. Griff, it's not just UFC 301 that's going on this weekend, though, my man. Right here in our backyard, we got for May 4th. May the 4th be with you, Griff. We got Jamie. Oh, how many say his last name?
That is Jamie Munguia.
Jamie Munguia. Apologies, man. Apologies. But Jamie Munguia, he's stepping in there with the redheaded son of a gun himself, Canelo Alvarez. They are going to go down at it. Now, listen, I understand that Jamie doesn't have the name that everyone knows. He doesn't necessarily have the highlight reel package. This young man is 27 years old, 43-0, 34 knockouts. He's taller than Canelo, 6 feet to 5'8", got a longer reach, 72 to 70.5. They're both orthodox. He's a natural 168 guy, super middleweight guy. So to me, and he's legit. Griff, I was able to look at some of his fights earlier. This is a legit power puncher right here. This is a guy that loves to bring it, isn't hesitating at the moment. Again, we all say that, But when you step in there with the Terrence Crawfords, the Canelos, the Floyd Mayweathers, you know, in the world of boxing, there's just something about being in that big stage. The lights are brighter, the stage is bigger. But Canelo Alvarez, 62-2, 39 knockouts. Guys won titles basically from 100 pounds all the way to 300 pounds. I mean, he's not stopping, Griff. He's not stopping. He's like Thanos, but with red hair. Canelo Alvarez, 33 years old, but it feels like he's been fighting forever, man. He's got 64 fights and he's only 33. Good Lord. But he did turn pro at 15. So there's that. What are your thoughts on Canelo Alvarez taking on Jamie this weekend in Las Vegas?
I think Canelo versus Munguia. Canelo is interesting. You got a lot of news lately. The spotlight in boxing has been focused more on the Devin Haney's of the world, the Ryan Garcias, the Tanks. So Canelo, because it's not too long, but it's been a minute since he last fought. A lot of people thoughts haven't been on Canelo. Canelo hasn't been right smack dab in the spotlight. So now that we're seeing him again, and he's going against a guy who maybe not a lot of people know, maybe he's not the biggest name in boxing, but Jamie Munguia. I mean, sitting at 43-0, he is the undisputed super middleweight champion. I mean, a lot of people will see the matchup and automatically think maybe Canelo's about to, it's going to be another Canelo victory. They'll maybe say Munguia is probably going to put up a good fight, but he's, it's going to end up being Canelo in the end. I think, especially after Canelo's loss to, what was his name? Benicio Bivol? Bivol. I mean, after he lost to Bivol out of nowhere, a lot of people weren't planning on that either. I think that's what makes this fight really interesting, because especially in a guy with this record, with this resume, with the champion that he is, you never know. You never know. And that's what you can count on with Canelo now, is that it's not every time, but he's only lost to Floyd Mayweather, but he's also lost to Bivol. And that Bivol loss makes you think, okay, now I have to tune into every Canelo fight, even though he's, like the Thanos of boxing, like you said. It's still worth tuning into, because you never know which one of these fighters is about to be that Tony Stark who's going to snap the fingers and get in tarnish the record of Thanos. So I definitely think it'll be worth tuning into just for that reason alone. But in the end, it's going to be cool. It's going to be great. Every Canelo fight's always worth watching, always tuning into.
Well, with that Bivol fight, it was one of those where, because he was moving up so much in weight, that light heavyweight, there were boxing people who were like, hey, this might be too big of a jump for him. Bivol a legit dude. This is a legit weight class. He's strong. He punches hard. When he fought Sergey Kovalev for the light heavyweight title, Kovalev was on his way out. That was near the end of it. Andre Ward already put a stop to him. Bay Area's finest. Shout out. So it was just one of those where he caught him right at the end, right before we knew it was the end for Kovalev. Like, okay, Kovalev just lost to Andre Ward, another great guy. Cool. Then Canelo went in there, and you're just like, whoa. But for Bivol, he really was just like, hey, man, this is legit my division. So what are we going to do here? Now, Bivol, he's trying to go down to 168 and say, hey, Canelo, I'll fight you here as 168. This is where I've been wanting to fight. Now, for Canelo, he only fights once, maybe twice a year, obviously. May, September. Those were his dates. His last one was a loss, so he had to regroup, repackage some things. And the biggest thing that people want to see, they want to see him versus David Benavidez. So that's a big fight. He's talking about, if I did in Saudi Arabia, I'll do it for 200 million. And you are not going to strong on them dudes over there. They're like, no, we tell you what to do over here. So we'll see how that opportunity is. But yeah, Juanita here, he's a legit dude, Griff. Like I said, when I've been watching him, now you can never dictate, just like how we had the NFL draft here. Shout out to you guys, by the way, on your picks. But just how you can't tell with the NFL draft, you could be as good as you can be in college. But there's something about when those lights are brighter, the stage is bigger, the big name is standing across from you, the roar of the crowd, the announcers, the flags, everything. It can mess with you mentally. Where, yeah, maybe Jamie's a better fighter at this stage in his career than Canelo Alvarez is at this stage in his career. But can he put it all together on that night? As I always say from the great George St. Pierre, I don't have to be a better fighter than you. I just have to be better that night. Can Jamie be the one to do it? Throw another wrinkle into Canelo's record? Maybe he got him second guessing. Like, wait, have I been slowly what's the word I'm looking for? Desecrating? Is that the word?
Yeah.
Desecration over here. And you know what? I'm gonna say this. How come? And we don't have to talk about it right here because we and whatnot, because we, like I said, we're only doing the show, not a podcast. But how come Canelo Alvarez does not get as much criticism for his resume like Floyd Mayweather? Every single person, Canelo fans, Pacquiao fans, Floyd Mayweather haters, whoever you like, everybody criticizes Floyd Mayweather for fighting guys when they were past their primes, too old, weren't good enough. Take a look over there at your boy Canelo's record. A lot of those guys may be good, but they're good for, like, no disrespect, the next tier of fighters. The next tier. Sometimes when he fight guys who are that tier, he fights some of them with a little bit after they were smoked. Like I said with Kovalev, when he fought Shane Mosley, when Shane was already starting to show signs of being older, and a couple other guys on there as well. I don't need to jump into every single one of them, but sometimes I kind of feel like Canelo gets the benefit of the doubt because he is the face of boxing, so we don't want to criticize him right now like we did Floyd, because when Floyd was there, we had all these other guys we can go to, a young Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, and whatnot. We had other guys we can go to. Right now, I feel like the criticism isn't there for Canelo like it should be, because as I was looking at his record, I was like, wait, yeah, he's got 60 wins, but wait a minute, when did he fight this guy? Wait, that guy was old. Wait, this guy was already done. Wait, this guy was never really been that good. So it's almost like, okay, is Canelo starting to get to the point where he can't pick and choose all these cherry cans anymore? Now he's starting to take on guys where, no, we're in our prime. You're not going to get us at the end of our primes like you did some other guys. So it'll be interesting to see how both of these fighters do. If Canelo wins, he really doesn't have much else to go to than Benavidez. Granted, there's a Terrence Crawford fight out there, and TC's talking about he's going to move up, but Griff, that's a bit too much. We'll save that for another episode. Maybe on the recap, we can talk about that. But the reason I want to cut it short here with boxing is because, real quick, I'll just go over this. If you want to give a reaction, you can. But we did get the rules of the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. It will be 8 rounds. This will go on their records as an official match. It will be 2-minute rounds instead of the 10, and there will be no headgear, and they will be wearing 14-ounce gloves. So those are the rules for the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight on Netflix. That'll be interesting. As that fight gets closer, we can dive more into it. I just want to throw that out there because that is new. That is something that just came out. But God, I hate doing this. So we've had a bare knuckle fight this past weekend.
Yup.
It is what it is on that one, but then news broke that they got another part-time owner. So Griff, I'll give you the floor so you can talk about your boy and his ventures.
Yep. You know it. So not only does the Conor McGregor brand get more hyped up and pumped up because we just got the announcement of he and Michael Chandler's fight taking place at International Fight Weekend here in Las Vegas, but now the McGregor brand has absorbed an entire promotion has now elevated Conor to the status of a promoter, a part owner. He is now into this game crazier than he's ever been. It is a great thing to see. Conor, technically the official term, McGregor Sports and Entertainment has bought part ownership in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. It's not the most prestigious, realm of combat sports and entertainment right now, but it's on the move. It's on the rise, and it's actually much more established than a lot of guys who fought in the UFC and have tried to make it as promoters past their fighting careers, like the Khabibs, the Nate Diaz's, the Jorge Masvidals. So it's a great move on Conor's part. It makes it really interesting, the relationship he has with some people who work for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. It'll be interesting to see how that kind of transpires. And overall, it's another thing that just puts Conor McGregor in the front row, in the front seat of the world of combat sports. Beautiful thing to see. But I think we should probably wrap it here. It's about all the time we got. UFC 301, Canelo versus Munguia on Saturday. We got so much action going on this week. It's going to be fun to watch. You guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you come back, subscribe to the Franchise Sports Media page for all your sports media. And, of course, tune into the main event every week for your daily combat sports intake. We'll see you guys next time. My name is Griffin Kemp. This was Kalani Lua. Until next time, fight fans, peace.